Dr. Laura Doyle, and I'm here today to talk with you about logical operators, logical variables, and relational operators in MATLAB. And we're going to do this by using an example of a rural community in California, which we will call Aqualandia. And this community is trying to live off the grid. In order to do so, they need drinking water. And so they get their drinking water from a borehole and groundwater. And the way it works is the water is pumped from the ground into this holding tank that you see, and then distributed to community members when they need it. However, this water can only be used when certain conditions are met for safety. And so one of these conditions that we will look at in MAT and use MATLAB to figure out when the water can be used for drinking is that the turbidity must be less than 5 NTUs. Turbidity is a measure of how much sediment or particles are in the water. And in general, the more particles and sediment in the water, the higher the likelihood that there are pathogens that can make you sick. So this standard is in place for drinking water. And so there are sensors that can measure it. So this community has a sensor in the tank that will tell them what the turbidity is. So let's take a look at what this looks like in MATLAB. So I'm going to start down here in the command window by assigning a variable called turbidity and setting it equal to 4.2. I'm going to put a semicolon and hit enter, and we see that appear as a numeric double class variable in the workspace. It's a little bit bigger. Then I'm going to set for you a variable called isSafe and set it to true. So if I type isSafe equals true, you'll see that now saves in the workspace. It takes a value of 1, but is a logical variable. So you can tell the variable type here, or variable class, in a couple different ways. First, by the symbol to the left. So you'll see turbidity has this grid, which means that it's a double class, numeric numbered. And then for isSafe, you'll see it has this yellow box with a check mark that indicates a logical variable. You can always also type whose, and you can list all the variables, and again, they'll tell you the type and how much space they take up, as well as the variable name and the value. Okay, so those are the two different variable types, but let's say I want to set a turbidity threshold so that I can test each day if my water is safe. So I'm going to set a new variable called turbidity threshold, set it equal to 5. Then I'm going to test if my turbidity value of 4.2 is less than or equal to the turbidity threshold. And that is going to save as a logic variable. Hopefully it's true. Hopefully I spelled everything right. I'm not going to put a semicolon here so we can see the output. Okay, so we see here that the turbidity is less than our threshold of 5. So isSafe takes the logical true or 1. And so this is safe water at the moment. I'm going to retype this up here in the command window, sorry, not in the command window, in the script, so that I can prompt the water tank manager to input the turbidity reading anytime that people are trying to get water to see if it's safe. I'm going to type, what is the reading on the turbidity meter? I'll enter a value. I will still have my turbidity threshold equal to 5. Then I'm going to type isSafe equal to, I'm going to copy it from below. Okay. So let's run this and see what happens. So if we run this, and again, if I hit 4.2, then you can ask if isSafe, that is true. And if I run it again, and this time I have a reading of 6 for my turbidity, then my isSafe is now false, logical 0. So we cannot use that water. I hope this is a helpful exercise.